Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Panchakalpatarubhascha Kripa Sindhubhaiva cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah Antakoti Vaishnava Vranda ki jai. So this morning we are seeing uh, how Lord Krishna kills Kamsa. It is elaborately described in this various purport 35, 36 and 37. Srila Jiva Goswami describes furthermore how Lord Krishna kills Kamsa, and each and every detail is explained here. Srila Jiva Goswami says in the same thing but in a little bit elaborate way, like seeing that Krishna quickly enter in the royal palanquin, seeing him as his own death, out of fear, great fear, fearful Kamsa rose from his seat, not having a weapon, grabbed his sword and shield. The word ending of the mat and other suffix expresses the advance of criticism and praise constant connection with the access of or combination. So Srila Jiva Goswami elaborates the purport a little bit further, because when Kamsa saw that Krishna is coming, grabbing him, and he already uh, killed the two wrestlers, by seeing this scene, this situation, Kamsa could easily understand that his death personified has come now. Because throughout his life he was thinking of Krishna. In one sense, he is also constantly thinking of Krishna. Like Srila Prabhupada always say, um, always think of Krishna, never forget Krishna. In one sense, Kamsa is also always thinking of Krishna in a negative sense, not in a positive sense. So that is the difference between the demons and the devotees. The devotees always think of Krishna in a favorable way, and whereas the demons, they think of Lord in an unfavorable way. It is just like a mother it think of his child always, though it was a small kid or a grown up kid, but still the mother thinks of always kids' welfare. It's natural for the mother to think of a kid. At the same time, demons also, they think of their death personified always all the time, because they know that they are doing the wrong. They know that one day they're going to face, and they know that they are going to be killed, because inside the phobia, the phobia of their mind is always thinking of, okay, I am doing something which is not supposed to be done. So in that way, inside the fear is always arose in the Kamsa's mind, but still he was denying that fact. The Krishna is going to kill me, but he is always uh, taking the shelter of his strength, and taking the shelter of his powers, and taking the shelter of the demons. He thinks that I can kill Krishna. So that is the people in the materialistic world. They think that somehow or the other we make up this world into Sukhalaya. It is always Dukhalaya. Srila Prabhupada always mentioned that how can you make this world Dukhalaya into Sukhalaya? This world of place where all miseries are there, where all anxieties are there, filled up with this world. You cannot make this world into the Sukhalaya. So people in the materialistic world, they may trying to do something or the other so that we can able to enjoy this world. In the scenario of this Kamsa, he's also thinking similarly. I can uh, kill Krishna by my various strength, and I have a wrestlers where they can fight and they can kill. because he internally somehow he knows that he cannot able to kill Krishna, but still he is trying his best. So he never gave up to kill Krishna. That's a determination he has, but he has a wrong determination. We can understand that as soon as he saw that fearful Krishna is coming, so immediately he picked up sword and the shield so that he can protest and he can fight against Krishna. But Krishna is all powerful, almighty, and all knowledge. Who can defeat Krishna? It is said in Chaitanya Charitamrita, Rake Krishna Mare Krishna Rake ke. If someone is protected by Krishna, nobody can kill. If someone Krishna decides someone to kill, nobody can protect. We can see like various demons have taken the shelter of the demigods and the gods. Like Ravana took the shelter of the Lord Shiva, and he was a great devotee of Lord Shiva. Though he was a great devotee of Lord Shiva, still when Lord Ramachandra decided to kill him, he he definitely couldn't do anything. Ravana, he tried his best, but still, what Ravana can do, he cannot do anything. He has to give up his life. And whereas Hiranyakashipu, Hiranyaksha, they are all great demons. The entire universe is under them control, and they took the powers and they did various of tapasya and they did austerity and they took the boon from the Brahma. But still, they cannot able to stand before the Supreme Lord. By that, we can understand that Ekecha Sakala Apamsa Krishnastu Bhagavan Swayam. So, even though you take the boon from the demigods, the great powerful demigods or gods like Lord Shiva and Brahma, you cannot able to withstand when Krishna decide to kill you. So, by this we can understand various people may argue that why ISKCON like Hare Krishna says only Krishna is Supreme Lord. The various people argue that various uh, religious people argue that you are because since you are a follower of Krishna, you just say that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. No, it is mentioned in the Shastras. Like we can see a very nice example in the scriptures itself, in the Srimad Bhagavatam itself, when Lord came as Vaman Dev, he asked the three steps from the Bali Chakravarti, Bali Maharaj, and he at that time when he lifted his leg and measuring the higher planets, at that time Lord Brahma came and washed his feet, so that became Ganga Jal, and Lord Shiva put it on his head. That we can understand easily that Krishna is only the God and he is the supreme personality of Godhead. So by that simple stories, we can understand anybody who is taken the shelter of the Supreme Lord, he can able to easily overcome the fear of death. Here Kamsa took of his own strength, that's why he couldn't able to come out of fear of his death. So we'll see now the text 36, excuse me, translation. Sword in the hand, Kamsa moved quickly from side to side like a hawk in the sky. But the Lord Krishna, whose fearsome strength is irresistible, powerfully seized the demon just as the son of Tarakaksyaha might capture a snake. Srila Goswami comments. Kamsa moved about quickly in various ways, Vichitranam, circling around to the left and the right with a great skill, like a hawk in the sky. This indicates that he was hard to catch, but Krishna seized him with a great strength, since he was endowed with a great intolerable ferocity, just as the Garuda attacks a intolerably furious snake. The example shows that many intolerably fierce snakes can be easily caught since their power is ordinary to compare to Krishna. So Srila Yoga Goswami gives an example of a snake and a Garuda. And how Garuda attacks a snake. Though snake is so fearful and furious. So we can see the both here the animals are fearsome, even the Garuda and the snake. If somebody sees a snake, immediately they will run or immediately they will shout because the snake is so poisonous. As soon as see the snake, your mind gets so disturbed. It is in the Chanakya Pandit. It says Chanakya Pandit says that you will get a signal, some type of a signal to your mind. One, if snake is there somewhere around in the area, and two, when the politicians are coming. When the politicians wants to have some pandal program or he wants to have a program, immediately before he comes, he makes sure that there is proper arrangement, security, and everything is taken care of, and all other things are doable things like all other his associates should come and make sure that. So you should understand that okay, some politician is going to come, and at the same time when snake is around in the area, immediately it sends the signals to the your mind that I am around. It's called some sixth sense. I don't know when you have heard that in India we say that some sixth sense will tell you that the snake is around. It will, I don't know how it sends the signals to your mind. Some or the other it will send signals that some or the other you will come to know snake might around here. Because I had an experience of this kind of sixth sense, like because I was working in my Guru Maharaj farm, His Holiness Bhakti Raghavaswami Maharaj farm. He has 15 acres of land. There, we used to see snakes often here and there, but some say that they are not poisonous snakes. Some say that they are poison snakes. But whenever I used to serve my Guru Maharaj to going that place, so I used to feel that the snake is around. So somehow or the other, it sends the signals to the mind, so that you should be attention. Oh, this is snake around here. So snake is so fierce, fearful animal, fearful living entity, and also Garuda. Garuda also it gives a when it gives us some kind of negative feelings when it is uh, near to your sky, near to your home, or near to your somewhere around your arena. So if Garuda, it says that if Garuda touches you, that means that is a sign of your death. Your death is going to come sooner or later. So that is the belief they have in India. Well, I don't know how far it is true, because Garuda is also indicating one of the fear personified death. So that's why Srila Jiva Goswami compares these two living entities, like how Garuda attacks the snake, grabbing, even though snake is so poisonous, but Garuda can attack the snake and kill it. Similarly, if Garuda, if somehow or other, if it touches your head, it is an indication that something danger is going to come upon you. So these are the beliefs, uh, it is said, and I don't know if some of them had an experience or not, but it is some of the I heard some of the people saying that somebody has touched the Garuda, and after few days he met with an accident and he died. Or some of them like they had a Garuda, like that bird has touched his, that at least if it the feather touches upon your head, so he might meet with an accident or some bad things going to happen. So I heard many times, but how far it is true, I really don't know. So, so having said about that, here we see though Krishna is the compared to the Garuda, and also Kamsa is compared to the snake. So, which is the greater then? So, Krishna ultimately defeats Kamsa, because for Krishna to defeat Kamsa is nothing. It is just like a play, a toy, how a kid play a toy with plays with his toy, and ultimately he breaks the toy sometime or the other. So similarly, for Krishna to kill Kamsa is not at a big deal. So we'll see now text 37. Grabbing Kamsa by the hair and knocking off his crown, the lotus navel lord threw him upon the elevated dais into the wrestling mat. Then the independent Lord support the entire universe threw himself in upon the king. So purport in the purport, it is explained that Srila Prabhupada has given elaborate explanation on the Krishna book, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. We can just read that also. We see what Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur describes. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur also describes in the various ways, like after grabbing his hair and throwing him on the wrestling match. Kamsa was wounding his head, and he threw him like it is just like for him a toy play. So when Kamsa fallen on his ground, so his body got injured. So Srila Vishwanath Goswami explains further this type, and Srila Jiva Goswami explains of the same thing. This verse shows that how God Kamsa, how Krishna kills the Kamsa. He held him with firmly his hair. How could he suddenly catch by him hair, since his hair was bound by the crown? His crown fell off from his head, and Krishna attempted grabbing by his hair. In the Vishnu Purana says that when Krishna grabs Kamsa's crown fell off, and in the Harivamsa it says when Krishna grabbed him with his hair, the crown made of gold and ornament with the diamonds fell off his head. Krishna was independent because he was the shelter of the universe. The universe within him is the lotus navel, Garbhodakshay Vishnu, who is but an expansion of Krishna. So, Srila Jiva Goswami gives a detailed explanation. Like one may ask, oh, since Kamsa is a king means obviously he'll be sitting on the elevated throne and he'll be having the crown. Like, so how Krishna grabs his by hair? So Srila Jiva Goswami explains a detailed explanation. When as soon as Krishna grabbing by his hair, so immediately the crown fell off, and by that he could catch his hair and pull him down from the head. So Srila Jiva Goswami always explains in the details of the pastimes. We can understand that detail is a sign of love. Srila Prabhupada always says, when you are doing any kind of a service, any kind of a devotional service to the Lord, it has to be detailedly explained. It has to be detailedly done with the love. That is a sign of the love. When you are doing just for the sake of doing, it's not for the Lord. It's for the own sense gratification, or just for the doing for the sake of doing. So we can understand that Srila Jiva Goswami how he explains the further and further and further. So we can see this various purports like Jiva Goswami and Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, how they meditate upon these pastimes of Krishna, and how they elaborately explanation given so that people in general they can understand, and they're clear of the doubt. Even I got a question in my mind when Krishna was grabbing the hair of Kamsa. So the Kamsa obviously wearing the crown, how he pull off the crown, and though I was having the same kind of question, but Srila Jiva Goswami explains that in a very nice way. So we can meditate upon this pastime, and so that all the anarthas in the heart will destroy, because anarthas are very difficult to overcome, and it is very very deep rooted in our system. But when we hear these pastimes of Krishna killing the Kamsa, it will elaborately explains that how Krishna is a supreme personality of Godhead, and how we can understand in the detail by in the various purports. And in the Chaitanya Charitamrita also we see that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he was always absorbed in the pastimes of Lord Krishna, and he was also thinking of the welfare of the society. And when Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu asked the Haridas Thakur how the whole world will be delivered, how, because Chaitanya Mahaprabhu knows that Haridas Thakur is a Namacharya Haridas Thakur, and he's also the uh, Brahma. So he was asking the question how the whole world will get delivered by the sinful activities every day they're performing, like killing the cows and killing the Brahmanas. So Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was anxiety. When Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu seeing that anxiety, then Haridas Thakur explains that the only shelter they can take in this Kali Yugam, Prayana Alpaisha Kalo Asmin Yuge Jana, Manda Sumanda Mateo Manda Bhagya Upadishta. So in this people fallen age, they can only take the shelter of the holy name of the Lord. By the taking holy name of the Lord, they can able to overcome the sinful activities, tendency to perform sinful activities just by chanting. So this chanting gives you an immense strength to not to commit any sinful activities. By gradually chanting prescribed number of rounds, and by hearing the pastimes, and by regularly attending the Srimad Bhagavatam class, so we can able to overcome this deadly anarthas. And also people in the world, they can also having the anxiety of overcoming sinful activities by chanting the holy name of the Lord, because Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has an anxiety of how this whole world can deliver. Similarly, each and our spiritual master has also anxiety how this disciple can deliver. So our duty is to make sure that our spiritual master should not be in anxiety, and we should also able to show of our spiritual master that we are also preaching the Krishna consciousness message to the whole world, or to at least to our capacity, however we can. Then the spiritual master's anxiety will come down. So similarly, Sri Haridas Thakur was saying that Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has an anxiety. Srila Prabhupada says that all in the purport, this is a sign of the disciple. Sorry, disciple couldn't see the and should not see the anxiety of his spiritual master. When he sees that anxiety of the spiritual master, how thinking that how this whole world can deliver and how everybody can deliver, when you help the spiritual master to overcome that anxiety, of course that is spiritual anxiety, then you are called a disciple. The meaning real disciple is disciplined disciple. So we can also able to grab that spiritual master's mood and able to help him in his mission, so that he can able to free from that anxiety. So I'll just read this uh, small line from the small paragraph from the Krishna book. When after Kamsa was killed, what happened? The wives of the Kamsa and his 8 brothers were aggrieved at the sudden death of their husband, and all of them struck with their foreheads and shedded torrents of tears, cryingly, crying loudly and embarrassing the bodies of their husbands. which lay on their vestal dais. The wife of the Kamsas and his brothers lamented, addressing the dead bodies, "Our dear husband, you are so kind and are protector of our dependents. Now, after your death, we are also dead, along with your homes and children. We no longer look auspicious. On account of your death, the auspicious functions to take place, such as the sacrifice of the bow, have all been spoiled. Our dear husband, you treat persons ill who were faultless, and as a result, you have been killed." They also realized that, and this is inevitable because a person who torments an innocent person must be punished by the laws of nature. We know that Lord Krishna is the supreme personality of Godhead. He is the supreme master and the supreme enjoyer of everything. Therefore, one who neglects his authority can never be happy and ultimately as he met the death. So these wives, they are also realized that Krishna is supreme personality of Godhead, and they also came to know that their husband Kamsa is a ill and a wicked person. But their realization was in the late after death. They came to know that so this person, our husband, is always ill with the bona fide people, ill with the faultless people, and he is always killing the innocent people. So as a result, you do what action you perform, immediately the reaction is going to come from you. So for every action in Newton's third law, for every action there is an equal and opposite reaction comes. So since Krishna was a kind and affectionate to his aunts, he solicited them as far as possible. The ritualistic ceremonies performed after his death were conducted under the personal supervision of Krishna, because he happened to be the nephew of all the dead princes. After his punishing business, Krishna and Balram immediately released their father and mother, Vasudeva and Devaki, who had been imprisoned by the Kamsa. Krishna and Balram fell at their parents' feet and offered them prayers. Vasudeva and Devaki had suffered so much trouble from the Kamsa because Krishna was their son. Devaki and Vasudeva were fully conscious of Krishna's exalted position as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Therefore, although touched their feet and offered their obeisances and prayers, they did not embarrass him, but simply stood up to hear the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna. Although Krishna was born their son, Vasudha and Devaki were always conscious of his position. So Krishna is so sensitive to their relationship with their parents. He never misbehaved with their parents, and he never thought that, okay, I am the Supreme Personality of Godhead and they should offer me prayers. He never thought that. And also, he by his example, he is showing how uh, parents should be treated and how children should follow the Vedic scriptures. Children should follow the minimum respect of touching the parents' feet. So by this we can understand this is a very good example Krishna is showing. As soon as he saw his parents, he touched their feet and offered them obeisances, and he stood up there. So and also was there and Devaki. They are also conscious of position of Krishna, and they also understand the position of Krishna, and they also know that who is Krishna, and they know position. So this is the living entities and relationship between the living entities and the Supreme Lord. So living entities always should understand his position and always understand the Krishna's position. Then only we can able to serve nicely. So thus ends the Bhaktivedanta purport of 44th chapter of Krishna killing Kamsa. So I'll stop here. So if any comments or questions.
Thank you, Naveen Prabhu.
Thank you.
Few things that I've, you know, talked to ask you. One is that belief that you were talking about in India about Garuda
Right.
is referring to a particular bird or not, especially referring to an eagle, to a hawk, what
I,
is it that the
I
people
was
think?
referring to the eagle.
To an eagle. So it
Eagle,
happens that the eagle touch your head, you're finished.
yes.
Well, that would be quite
Uh,
an occurrence, because imagine an eagle just descending on you and grabbing you by the head.
yeah. Sometimes it is like it's believed in that. I don't know. That's what I said. It's sometimes it is considered as a negative sign.
A
The
what?
negative sign for the especially in South India side, it's considered as a negative sign when the eagle is touching your head. Something it may not be unnecessarily a death. Some like he might meet with an accident, he might something business loss, or he might go into bankrupt. Something is going to happen. It is like how far it is true because I heard many people saying that, and also some religious people, some other uh, kind of religious practitioners, they also mentioned that the eagle is something which is very bad sign. And others, on the other hand, we see that eagle is nothing but Garuda, carrier of Lord Vishnu. So there are both sides of seeing. Like in the Jagannath Puri, uh, when Lord comes out in the for the procession of Jagannath Ratha Yatra, the eagle comes and sits on the chariot of the Lord Jagannath, and it pierces the flag of Jagannath and it goes away. So there are some misunderstandings there's between the some kind of religious. Now also the eagle comes and sits on the Jagannath chariot and does something mischief and goes away. So even now also like every year the Rath Yatra comes, as soon as Rath Yatra comes, the eagle comes and it says it's the Garuda and do some mischief on the Jagannath chariot, and it is some pastime. So how far it is true, I don't know.
Nice. Um, you mentioned that um, detail is a sign
Love.
of love. And indeed, um, you can see when one puts so much attention in detail while doing something, it means that you really care. Sometimes we find ourselves um, doing things in automatic, and then because you're looking, especially I notice that we can fall doing that while we're doing deity worship. That is all because there's timing. You're more focused on the timing and the task,
Correct.
right, and the details. So um, is something that happens. So obviously, we can get into a whole discussion of how to overcome that, but there's obvious,
Correct.
things that we should do. But it's just a comment on that,
Yes, yes,
just
yes.
reaffirming.
Yeah.
Yet indeed, the idea is that we should be able to do the service looking at the details
Right.
and still be efficient,
Right.
But,
Yeah. Sometimes I remember the pastime of actually pastime. It's actually happened in the when in the details of the sign of love when Srila Prabhupada. Uh, of course, this is also a comment. When Srila Prabhupada arrived in Vrindavan, wanted to check the construction, how it is Vrindavan Krishna Balram temple is going on. So at that time, he saw that there was nothing much happening, construction, and he was going through various areas where Krishna Balram temple construction was going on. And Srila Prabhupada with his disciple, few with disciple, was going into the uh, front. We see as soon as we enter the right side, there is a gift shop, and left side Srila Prabhupada Samadhi. Srila Prabhupada went into the right side, um, and he saw that there was nothing happened, and Srila Prabhupada was a little bit upset. Why the construction is not happening? Why? What is the president is doing? He was like little bit angry mood, and Srila Prabhupada saw that there was a desk. Under the desk, the little bird and having with eggs, like with little baby eggs, and Srila Prabhupada came and put his cane, and tapped on his the desk, and shouting like, "See, this is the construction. I mean, still not going on, and I came all the way from the North America to drive away these birds." So his point is that time is already up, and still the construction is not happening yet. So he was little bit angry mood. So at the same time, Srila Prabhupada was also so concerned about the time and the management and also the details. Srila Prabhupada said that I came all the way to from North America to drive away these birds, because that bird has already made up a nest and laid eggs. Srila Prabhupada saw that and he got a little bit upset. So again, Srila Prabhupada, obviously he can do anything. So that's a little bit, Srila Prabhupada shows that time and also the details also should take, both should go hand to hand. So that make sure that Srila Prabhupada's mission was to make sure that this time construction should be done. So, like both things are there. We can talk as you said. Yes, thank you, Bro, for nice comment.
Yeah, I was going to say one more, squeezing it on time, because yes, it's a very interesting thing that the culture, that even among demons, you can see that they were even being such a nasty demons, they were very cultured too.
Right.
And, like I'm thinking, when we read some time ago, Chanura addressing Krishna, and he addressed Krishna so nicely and politely. He say, he praised him first and say, you're famous because of this, and, it's appreciated, and you're very strong. And then, he addressed it with honor and with civility. It's not, when you think of a low-class demon, and he's going to address you, he's going to be, nasty from the very time they open their mouth. But these demons are very cultured, even they're very nasty. And then you see, that the family of these demons actually really appreciate the demon to actually have those feelings of grief, And so it means that they're doing their duty in order for these persons, to be feeling like this.
Right.
So, thinking of Ravana or Hiranyakashipu, say Ravana, he was so lusty. And he would, do all kinds of really bad things to people, just out of lust, especially to women. And nevertheless, Mandodari was so loyal, and all the wives, they were so... so it's a pretty far out culture,
Thank you, bro.
Hare Krishna. You had mentioned in reading a little bit further beyond the verses of today, I think, that someone who tortures an innocent person is bound to get punished by the laws of material nature. So there's the situation where persons may be going through their own purification in devotional life, but they may be tormenting one or others through that purification. So, the understanding is that Krishna is there to protect all devotees, including the tormentor. So, if you have some thoughts on how that works in a situation where it's a person who's trying to move away from their demoniac tendencies but is still executing demoniac
Right.
tormenting.
There are both sides. One is in the like one in the Mahabharata, we see that Lord Balram, he's training to the demon. It's like he's a he's so like he knows that this is a demon, and he knows that he's a all kind of religious person, and he knows that this person is a wicked person, Duryodhan. Even though Duryodhan was a so wicked person, Balram is his teacher. How we can process that? We can only process it simply. I mean, like he knows that Balram completely. Lord Balram knows that he is a demon number one, and he is not a follower of a religious person. But still, he gives the mercy by training and becoming his teacher as a Gada teacher. Like Gada. So becoming the teacher. But how we can process that? We can say that that is his mercy. You know that Balram is a very wicked, Duryodhana was a very wicked person. He knows that Duryodhana doesn't like by anybody, and still he gives some mercy. And on the other hand, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, when he saw that Jagai Madai hurt the Lord Nityananda, immediately he took off. He is ready to punish. How we can understand this? That is his mercy. We cannot process this. And also, on the other hand, in the scripture, in the Brahma Samhita, it is said, Karmani nirdhati kintu cha bhakti bhaja. So, when a devotee, when a person takes up the devotional service, all his karma is going to be vanished. All his karma is taken by Lord Krishna. And how, what, where, that we cannot understand the process, where that we cannot necessarily say that okay, this person has committed, say suppose the person has committed, he killed a cow. The same person, if he takes up the devotional service, and how that killing of the cow is going to reaction come upon his, that we cannot understand. That it is said that if you kill a cow, you will be killed as many hairs are on the cow, that many times you will be killed. Like we see the cow has so many hairs on his body, we cannot count unlimited hairs, so that many times you will be also killed. That is the nature's law. For every action there is an equivalent of reaction. The same action, the same thing, the person who has killed the cow and he has taken up to the devotional service, that is he going to be killed by that many times or not? That we cannot understand. Then how Krishna manifests karma and how he gives in a little bit, we do not understand. One time Srila Prabhupada was cutting the vegetables or fruits. Exactly, I don't remember. So his hand was little bit, his finger was cut, and Srila Prabhupada was crying. And crying means he became little bit emotion. Seeing that emotion and there was tears in his eyes, his disciple asked, "Oh Srila Prabhupada, why you are crying? This is you are crying out of that, out of pain or out of something else?" Srila Prabhupada gives an answer for that. Srila Prabhupada said that see, Krishna would have taken off my hand itself. So he has reduced the karma and given little bit punishment. Thinking that Krishna's mercy, I am crying. So Srila Prabhupada gave that answer. Srila Prabhupada said that he would have Krishna if what have performed an action in my previous life, or what wrong action I have performed, for that reaction my whole hand should be cut off. And Krishna has reduced it so much, and he has given this kind of punishment, just like he cut his finger. So there are various reactions for our actions, but when a person takes up the devotional service, we don't know how it comes. Like one incident, I'll finish with it. One incident it happened in Russia. In Russia, the devotees were distributing books, and somehow or the other, one guy took a book. He didn't like it. He ripped a part and he threw it somewhere. So one page of Srila Prabhupada book. It is, I remember, it's Science of Self-Realization. That paper somehow or the other it went to the slaughterhouse. There, a slaughterhouse person, a butcher, his duty is to cut the animal like cows and goats and everything. So he somehow or the other his attention got into that paper. He took that paper and he read that paper, and he was so moved and he was deeply connected with that paper and he started finding where this paper origin belongs to, what is the origin of this paper. So in that process he came in contact with the devotees, and they told them this is a paper belong to the this page belongs to the Science of Self-Realization. Then immediately he purchased that book, and he read, and not only he read that book, and he also distributed to his friends, and then he totally gave up that business in working in the slaughterhouse factory, and he became a devotee, full-time devotee with his family, and they are not only he himself and other friends also he preached, and they are also become devotee, and still now they are practicing. And see, you see that totally drastic change by reading one page of Srila Prabhupada book. So, and now we cannot see that we can understand that how a devotional service acts like a fire. It totally burned away his karma. Now he is nicely practicing Krishna consciousness. So we can ask that according to laws of nature, he might have killed X number of cows or X number of animals. For that reaction, he should face. Now he is not facing that reaction. Why? That Krishna only knows. We cannot process. Just like how we can understand Balram is giving mercy to Duryodhana. We cannot understand. But still Balram gives. But what if you want to process, we cannot process. That is his mercy. Balram just giving mercy. And in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, even though Jagai Madai were hurting him, same Balaram as Lord Nityananda, still he kept quiet. But he couldn't tolerate the Shivanand Sen performing, because Shivanand Sen, when he has taken in charge of taking a tour for all the Bengal devotees to the Jagannath Puri. So at that time Shivanand Sen was little bit late due to some he's paying taxes on the roadside. So he kicked Shivanand Sen. So for little misbehavior he kicked, and their sons were died. We cannot understand. Here we see on the other hand Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, sorry, Lord Nityananda Prabhu was hurt by Jagai Mata, still they got mercy. Here on the other hand we see that Shivanand Sen he was performing his duty very meticulously, but he was a little bit late. How he got kicked by Lord Nityananda Prabhu, we don't know. So that's how Krishna is. I hope that makes some sense. Thank you very much. Andra Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. God